did go, my little pledgesters.
Great, look at all the pledges we got from the mall.
That's wonderful, Sam. What did you get?
These new shoes. Aren't they cute?
Hello, Pledge Central.
I would like to pledge $1,000 for every hour that great American is up there.
$1,000?
What the hell? Make it 2,000. I love your sexy voice. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Eddie, is this you?
What do you mean, Eddie?
Gotcha.
We got a voicemail.
Hi, Tori and Kevin. It is Ashley. I just wanted to send a quick little note regarding There Goes the Bride. There was a funny comment that was made in the episode when you guys were reviewing, and you said, everybody in the show gets married so quickly, things are happening, they're moving so fast. And I just wanted to point out that Tony and Angela, our main characters, are currently at a rate of about one kiss every 1.5 years. So not everybody is getting married quickly or moving things along. And I did wonder what it would be like for the characters, Tony and Angela, to just be watching all of these people in their lives get married and progress while they are not. Anyway, I love the show. You guys are both doing such a great job. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, Tori and Kevin. It's Fran from Switzerland. I was just listening to the episode New Kid in Town, and you were wondering if Julia comes back. And as far as I know, she will be back at least for one more episode where Tony works at the restaurant at the Yellow Submarine. I might think she will come back for some other episodes, but I cannot really remember which episodes that were. So we will be surprised, and still love listening to your podcast. Have a good day. Bye.
Hi, welcome back to
AOOA,
the Who's the Boss podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Kevin.
And we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss. So our AOOA today was by Ashley. And Ashley is also who left that very first voice message. It's like I had to change formats. This is the second time we've had two voice messages, and I didn't know what to do.
I know, the phone's just blowing up.
But so, yes, Ashley, I agree. And I was thinking about that at the time, that like everybody else is moving at lightning speed and our two are just chugging along nowhere. And I also think that that's why Angela was so upset that the wedding didn't happen a bit, because I think she was trying to recapture some of that romance. She's like Wedding Bells, that episode. Doyle and Isabel's wedding went downhill, so I'm not ruining it this time. We're going to get some magic up in here.
Yeah, right.
We're going to get some dancing. We're going to get some all thinking about each other getting married, and we're going to Pound Town tonight.
That's right.
And then it didn't happen.
One-way trip.
And then it didn't happen, and she was so sad. And then, yes, thank you, Fran. You are correct, and Julia is going to be back for another episode. So I am excited about that.
Is it this season? Or?
It is this season.
Oh,
it's coming up soon. It's
okay.
when Tony gets a job as a manager at like this hot
I remember.
kid hangout.
I remember that episode. We watched that one recently.
It's going to have a lot to talk about. And Fran, I'm never going to get over the fact that you're calling us from Switzerland. So
I know, that's fantastic. That's cool.
Just the idea that someone in a different country is listening to us two boobs, like
sitting here, talking about.
I'll never get over.
We're really one boob, me. Like she tunes in me, and I'm just over here talking. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both of you, and love the AOOA. Thank you. Okay, and then I have a couple of more comments. So
okay.
Rebecca on Facebook, she let me know that Grover is going to be mentioned one more time this year. So the information I found was false.
All right.
Yeah. So we are going to get another Grover mention, and I'm going to have to wait for that one for sure. And then Car 1974 pointed out that she thinks the Madge and Blanche reference from the episode we did last, New Kid in Town, is referencing a Palmolive commercial from the 80s.
Okay.
So there was this Palmolive campaign where there was a manicurist named Madge, and the women would come sit down, and she would be like, "Oh, your hands look terrible," and she's like, "Oh," they would say why. It was usually housewife stuff, and then she would soak their hands in Palmolive, and they were all like, "You're putting my hands in dish soap?" And
right, I remember those commercials.
yeah. And so her name was Madge, and she kind of became like a well-known. But I couldn't find anything related to Blanche. But somebody was saying maybe Blanche was one of the customers. But yes, so thank you.
Oh, maybe if
Yeah,
you
that would make
watched
sense,
enough
probably.
Palmolive commercials, you'd hear Blanche reference. No, I'm serious. I don't know.
Did we do everything we were supposed to? We said who we were.
Yeah. But
Okay.
we didn't do the descriptions.
No, not yet.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
See?
but we said who
Don't
we
ask
were,
me.
and we said why we're here, right? Okay, yeah. And then and then I did notes, and we don't have any news, because
No.
what is news?
No.
And okay, so now, what happened? Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are going to cover season 4, episode 6. The title is 2 on a Billboard. I don't know what this is referencing. Do you know what that title is referencing?
No, and I forgot to do the research.
I mean, I didn't even really know where to start. Like,
yeah,
because I'm like, birds on a wire, 2 on a...
Maybe.
I don't know. If anyone knows, let us know. Leave a voice message and an AOA while you're at it. It first aired on Tuesday, November 3rd.
Well, there's a movie called Two on a Guillotine.
Well, that sounds terrible, but that might be
I'm
it.
just saying.
No, I'm
It was
saying,
in
isn't a guillotine the thing
1965.
that chops your head off?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, that might be it.
I mean, I don't know what else.
It's a good thing that this episode, let me tell you, that little platform that they were on was very small. This episode could have gone in a very dark direction because Tony's standing on his head. He really had very little room.
I know.
I'm surprised that no one fell and broke something. Okay, so this first aired Tuesday, November 3rd, 1987. The TV Guide summary says, Angela gets stuck up on the billboard where Tony is camping out as part of a fundraiser. That's it.
That's it?
That's it. That's all.
Oh, that's boring compared to what I got here.
You got a good one?
I had 2.
Okay,
I mean,
let's hear.
Usually, lately, it's just there's been 2. One is Tony spends 48 hours on the billboard to promote a campaign. Through this, he is offered a major job in Washington, which he quickly refuses. This confuses Angela, who wonders why Tony isn't even considering it. All right, that's pretty good. That's whatever.
Yeah. I mean, definitely more details than what we had in the TV Guide.
Right. Well, hang on.
Okay.
This is, I mean, really what it is that's like this description, and then this one says storyline. I don't know what the difference is, really.
Well, maybe it's going to give more of the plot.
So PTA chairman Tony raises a telethon record sum by spending 48 camping on a billboard for a campaign to stimulate reading. He refuses on the spot when a national chairman offers him a Washington, D.C. job. Angela feels he should give the opportunity serious consideration. Once on the billboard, to reason with him, she realizes to suffer from arachnophobia.
Wait. Okay, so that is more details. It seems like somebody wrote a book report on this episode. But isn't arachnophobia a fear of spiders and agoraphobia is a fear of heights? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I was just checking. So it's arachnophobia, right?
Oh, no, it's acrophobia. So that is correct.
Acrophobia. Oh,
my
okay.
gosh, my eye. I should probably wear my glasses.
So wait, then what's agoraphobia?
I don't know. What's
Let's see.
acrophobia? Is that what she
Well,
is scared
that
of?
sounds like that would be a fear of heights.
Okay, that's why
Maybe
I was laughing so hard earlier, 'cause I thought it said
is-
arachnophobia, but I'm wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Agoraphobia is when you're
Extreme
afraid
internal fear of
of places and situations. Okay.
Acrophobia is correct. Okay, so it's good.
Right,
That's
okay.
a good description. I'll take it.
I liked it better when it was arachnophobia.
So do I. Sorry, my eyes. Really should put my glasses on when I read this stuff.
Grandpa needs glasses. All right, this episode was written by Jeffrey Duteil. It's Duteil, so I'm not positive I'm saying that correctly. And this is the only episode of Who's the Boss that he will write. But it looks like he also worked for Golden Girls. Oh, that was the competition, too. Yeah, he was a writer on the Golden Girls. So I wonder if it was just one of those where he submitted a script and they took it, or they just contracted out one script. I'm always very curious about those. And someday a writer is going to talk to us.
Yeah. Maybe.
May not be today. May not be next year. But
Probably
someday.
not.
But it may not be while we're still doing this podcast. Okay. So I think we just start now, right?
Well, hang on. There's one more thing. I want to see if you remember this. It says on the trivia, Fran Drescher, who had here guest starred twice. I don't know, whatever that means. Yeah. Would often borrow from this sitcom.
Okay, yeah.
Is that true?
I have heard that. Okay. I don't remember what episodes seem similar, but yes.
Well, it says this on a Billboard premise would a decade later thus become a TV trope as she would make her own The Nanny, Love is a many blundered thing.
That's the name of the episode?
Yeah, to revolve around a billboard. Oh. And so would Sybil Shepherd with her own Sybil All of Me.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder what I
haven't seen the Sybil episode.
I thought maybe you remember the
I have
episode.
Seen every episode of The Nanny, but I don't remember that. But I do have heard before that they do some storylines that are very similar on The Nanny that they've done on Who's the Boss. And
the description of the Love is a many blundered thing is thinking Mr. Sheffield wants to be her Valentine. She puts up a billboard in Times Square.
Okay. I do remember that episode. Yeah, I would say it's similar because it takes place on a billboard, but I think the premise is very different. Like Fran, I don't believe is offered a job.
She's not up on the billboard.
She's not up on the billboard?
No,
at some point I do think they get stuck on the billboard.
Oh, okay. So that's similar.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to start this now.
Yes.
And once again, I don't know, I'm having trouble with Roku, where normally what I do is we watch the episode a bunch, and then I play it on the Roku channel, and I have the closed captioning there to keep me honest about what the words are. Well, on desktop, I cannot get the Roku channel to show me closed captioning. I've tried talking to support. I don't know what's happening. So I'm back to using YouTube. But I might as well get comfortable with YouTube because we're going to lose these seasons on Roku, I believe, at the end of this month. So
that's unfortunate.
If you are watching season 4 along with us, please binge and catch up because they're going to be gone. Okay. So when this episode opens, we are at the bottom of a billboard, and there are a bunch of people that we've never seen before gathered around. They're very excited. Tony's got a backpack on, and the local news is there. And the reporter says, "Call him a rebel with a cause." And he says it's Parents Associate President Tony Micelli. And he's basically says, like, he's going on to this billboard for 48 hours. He's setting up the storyline for us here. This was a clever way to do it. He's going to spend the next 48 hours on a billboard to help promote reading. And then I like how the reporter's like, so what is it with all this reading stuff?
Right? Like it's new.
Right.
No.
Like he's never heard of that before. What's all this crazy reading stuff you're talking about? And Tony, basically says that it's important for everyone to read the classics. And so he's trying to get pledges, and he's going to be reading books to show people how important it is to read. And they're going to be raising money, but they don't really say, I guess they're raising money for like the libraries at school or just the Parents Association as a whole that will help. And then he says to the reporter, whose name is Russell, I believe, you look like an upstanding citizen. How much are you going to donate? And Russ says, oh, how about $1? And then Tony's like, you cheapo.
Oh, you cheapo.
So on the episode, I have the script for this episode too. And it is a final draft. So it's not very different, but it is interesting to see some of the jokes that they either cut for syndication or they reworked last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And on the episode, he says, aren't you going to be lonely up there? And in the script, his next question is the question that I think is on all of our minds.
Which is?
Where are you going to go to the bathroom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we discussed that.
That's what he asked Tony. And Tony says downwind. Now, that could be taken two ways. Either, one, Tony's going to pee, obviously, where the wind is right, so it doesn't hit him. Or he plans to poop on one side of the billboard and then make sure it's downwind.
Oh, I didn't think about that side of that part of it.
I'm going to go with he was just talking about peeing.
I guess.
Like maybe he has different plans for where he's going to poop, or he just won't for 48 hours.
Yeah, maybe. That's a long time.
I know.
I hope he didn't eat enchiladas or anything, because that's a long time.
Well, and then Angela's bringing him consomme, which is just like a bunch of beef or chicken
hot soup.
Protein. Yeah, no, not a good scene. Yeah, they don't, it's a sitcom. Nobody goes to the bathroom on sitcoms.
That's a good point.
So then Russ says, aren't you going to be lonely? And he's like, of course not. I'm going to have all my friends. And he says, Moby Dick. I can't remember exactly. The Romeo and Juliet, Moby Dick.
Romeo, Juliet, Moby Dick, 2 star-crossed lovers and a whale. Is what he said.
His buddies. That's who he's going to be up there with. Tony says that their slogan is escape with a book. And Russ is like, very catchy. And then Angela pops in the frame and she says, that was my idea. And Russ's cameraman is a very salty.
No, this guy's angry.
He's very angry. And he's like, she's in the frame, Russ.
Right. Like, it's just, and it looks like he's pointing the camera down. Like, what's happening?
Right. I know. Okay, so this is another thing. Like, when they show women giving birth on TV, and then when they show live, you work in television news still, and I did for years. And I just think it's funny that they're like, especially that day when they walked into Angela's house with like a camera crew.
All right.
Or like they're doing a live shot, but like where's the live truck and all the cords? And like there's just some guy standing there with a camera. Like,
and like a bag on his shoulder that looks like it has nothing in it. And you watch him carrying it around, it's obviously empty.
And then you pointed out some framing stuff that we can talk about later, which is funny.
Well, see, and also whatever's in that bag, I mean, it must be like, it's probably like the recorder.
Right, because it was years
maybe
ago.
back then you could get I don't even get a tape in the machine. You still had to carry a machine to record everything.
Well, if they're doing a live shot, wouldn't you be recording it? Would they be recording it also?
I don't know if they're live or not.
Maybe they would
this
record
bozo's got a headset on.
I know.
The
It's
photographer
ridiculous.
just wouldn't be yelling. Like
and
this.
he's yelling during the live shot at this guy.
She's in the frame, Russ. Like, if I was Russ, I'd take care of this guy.
So Tony's like, yeah, I should give credit where credit is due. And then he starts introducing Angela Bauer of the Bauer Agency. And Russ is like, please, no commercials. And Angela gives the address. And then Tony's like, validated parking across the street.
And then Mona comes in.
Yeah, so then Mona gets in there. And she's like, I'm her mother. And my slogan was better. Take a book to bed. Or at least someone who's read one.
Okay.
I actually do like that slogan.
And that's really,
better.
what's that?
I do like that slogan better.
That is better.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
is.
And then
it's funny.
The cameraman got really tells Russ he's losing control. Russ, you're losing control here.
Oh my goodness.
He looks so angry. Like,
yes.
It's so funny. This guy had 2 lines and they're just so like cutaways of.
I
just
know.
Funny. It's just really funny.
Lee was really hoping to submit this for some sort of like news Emmy, and now it's not going to happen because Russ is
that
really...
guy even listed on the?
Yes, he is. So Lee is listed. His name is Arthur Mendoza. So Lee is the cameraman.
Mm-hmm. What's Lee done?
He 9 credits. So Our House, Who's the Boss, Falcon Crest, Jake and the Fat Man, The Bronx Zoo, Out of Time, Deep Cover, Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace.
Okay.
Soldier of Fortune Inc. TV series. So
I'll never see
his
him
last
again.
credit was in 1997. And then the reporter, whose name is Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No,
the
not
reporter's
Lee.
name is Russ.
Oh, okay.
He is James Hornbeck. Let's see what he's
James
done.
Hornbeck.
That name kind of sounds familiar, but I don't know why. Okay. Hardcastle. There was a TV movie in 1983 named Happy Endings.
Really?
Yes. And he played the ambulance attendant. So I don't think that movie's about what I think it's about. Okay. He was on an episode of Three's a Crowd, Dynasty, TJ Hooker. Yeah. So his character acting. Oh, he was on the original run of, and he was in an episode of the original run of Gilmore Girls.
Oh, okay. You're not going to believe what I just found.
What did you find?
Arthur Mendoza's acting circle theater.
Oh my goodness.
He teaches it must be a class or something.
Is he local?
He's got to be, right? Why wouldn't he be here?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, 4th Street, Santa Monica.
That is fantastic.
That's totally him.
Yeah, that's definitely him. You can tell that's him.
I know. It's great.
That is awesome. That's like the kids. So the
Actor circle theater. And why does it look like it's a crazy picture?
I think it's just like a landscape. Okay, this is not interesting to anyone.
I know.
But no, that's fascinating, and I love that. And the girls
and look, he's all over the internet, Facebook, Twitter.
The girls have taken an acting class with a lady here, Lisa Picotte, who is a fantastic acting teacher. And she has more credits than Arthur Mendoza, but it's sort of the same, where it was like small things that when I remember watching like some old movies and her face just popped up. She's in an episode of The X-Files and like random stuff. So that's really great. Okay, cool. Now... Okay, those are those two.
Sorry, I derailed us again.
That's okay. I'm going to get to James later because there's some controversy with James Whitlow. Okay, so yes, so Lee's very upset. You're ruining my chances for an award here, Russ. Stop it. Okay, and then now in the script, so on the episode, now Tony's getting ready to climb up the ladder. In the script, there's more stuff with the kids, and I do think that this was cut out of the syndicated version, only because I feel like I kind of remember this scene as a kid.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about Russ like kind of makes a motion for the kids to come over. So Tony's like, come here, kids, and Sam and Jonathan come over. And Jonathan's like, oh boy, I've always wanted to be on TV. And then he's standing there, and Tony says, this is Angela's son, Jonathan, and my beautiful daughter, Samantha. Sam, get your hair out of your eyes.
Oh.
And then Russ says to Jonathan, what book are you reading? Jonathan stares at the camera, a smile frozen on his face. Tony turns the book around so we can see it. The title is Treasure Island. And then he says, oh, Treasure Island, are you enjoying it? And Jonathan continues to stare. So I guess the joke there is that Jonathan's always wanted to be on TV, and now he's terrified.
Oh, I feel like I remember that too.
Yeah, right?
I
do feel like I have seen this scene. And then, so he's still just standing there and like staring and kind of nodding. And Tony says, thanks, pal. That was terrific. And Jonathan leaves. And Lee says, look out, Bryant Gumbel. Oh, look, Lee had another line. Look out, Brian Gumbel, making fun of Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, actually, he's had it.
So then Russ says, Samantha, you must be very proud of your dad. And Samantha says, he's the greatest. All my friends have promised to read a book while dad's up on the billboard. Even me. And Tony's like, isn't that great? And he says to Samantha, what are you going to read? And she says, Lady Chatterley's Lover. And Tony yells, cut.
Yeah.
And then Mona says, don't look at me. I didn't give it to her. So that's funny. Okay. So all of that, I feel like I've seen that scene. And as a kid, I was probably like, what's Lady Chatterley's Lover? I'm going to go look that up right now. That was me as a kid, not me as an adult. Because
right.
I'm too lazy to look that up right now. Okay. So now Tony's getting ready to go up on the billboard. So everybody piles all of this stuff onto him. And as and they're like, oh, don't forget your books. And they hand him the books and he starts to climb. And as he's climbing, the reporter is like, a man with a mission, can he make it for the next 48 hours, isolated, all alone, without human contact, completely cut off from the rest of the world? And as Tony gets to the top of the billboard, his phone rings.
I know, he's got a cordless phone that
he does.
I don't know where the line is, but
I know. So there is some sort of building next to this billboard. So maybe it was
someone
like
ran a phone line all the way over there?
Or just like it was close enough for the signal to work. I don't know. Somehow Tony has a cordless phone. Let's not think too much about it.
Okay.
The phone rings and he's like, oh, it must be for me. So he picks it up and it's his pizza order. And so it's Mario and he's like, yeah, large pizza. Have it here around noon. And then he says, okay, I love you too.
I know. Is that an Italian thing? Just tell each other you love each other?
He knows Mario.
Okay.
You know, he probably frequents that place a lot. That's probably where he got the free Frisbees or whatever when he ordered pizza in that other episode. So, yeah, he and Mario go way back.
Okay.
All right, so now we cut to later that day, and in the living room, Mona and... What is this lady's name again?
Oh,
Joanne.
No. Oh, is it?
Hang on. I got it here on the script.
And Tony brings a lot of things up there on
Yeah, it's Joanne I can't remember what her last name is. It might say it. I have it in the...
Pledge Central.
Yeah, so the phones are ringing and they're taking pledges. And Joanne answers the phone and she's like, oh, $2. That's so generous. And then Mona answers the phone and she's like, $2. And then she is like, Phil... I guess she knows who's on the phone. She's like, do you remember when you invited me to that convention, at hardware convention in Cleveland? And she's like, would you like me to tell Mrs. Phil? And so then Phil decides he's going to donate $20.
Wow.
Right, instead of $2. And then Joanne's like, that's blackmail. Okay, so the actress who we've already seen before is Pamela Galloway. It's Joanne Parker. That's her name. And if you remember, she is in the episode Tony for President.
Okay.
Possibly in others, but I can't remember. But definitely in Tony for President, that's who he's running against when he wins.
Oh, is that right?
The PTA presidency.
Oh,
yes.
wow. And she still helped out, even though she got beat.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she's like treasurer or something now.
Yeah.
But so Joanne says that what Mona did is blackmail, and she, on the other hand, just relies on her charm. Mm-hmm. And Mona says, well, that's why you get $2 for an hour.
Mona's so mean.
So the phone rings again, and Mona picks it up, Pledge Central. Angela comes in with some refreshments, and another phone starts ringing, but Joanne doesn't answer it. So Angela's like, Joanne, what's wrong? Why aren't you answering the phone? And Joanne says that her earlobe can only take so much.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea. So she's complaining. She says, it would have been much easier if we would have just done the tea party like I suggested. But we always have to do what Tony wants to do. Billboards, boxing matches, block parties. How come we didn't get invited to the episode about the block party?
I don't know.
I really think I would have liked that one. We've seen billboards and we've seen boxing matches. I wanted to see block party.
I know. And then Angela says this is why we have what did she say?
Wealthiest Parents Association.
Right,
in
the entire state. How does she know that? How can she back that fact up? She's done the research?
She probably has. I don't know. She's got files and
of course Tony's.
Maybe a floppy disk with some information on it. She knows what's going on.
Of course Tony's got, behind all of being the wealthiest PTA. What is
right,
it?
Yes.
Whatever it is.
He has raised the most money.
Of course, Tony.
Well, see, now they have to set up what is going to happen later for Tony in this episode.
Okay.
Now, so Joanne's like, you know what? I got to go. I'm late for my manicure, I think she says, or pedicure. And Mona says, say hi to your groomer.
Of course, Mona says that.
There is a little bit different exchange here in the script. And Joanne says, I'm supposed to I'm off to the health club and...
Health club?
And get Rolfed.
What does that mean?
I don't know. And then Mona says, you mean Ralphed? And then she leaves.
Rolfed.
Yeah. All right, hang on. Look that up while I move on to the next thing here.
Hang on. Real quick. Joanne Parker is also in Housekeepers Unite.
Oh, okay. So she's going to be in an episode coming up this season.
Yeah. I think that's this season.
Yes, it is. It's episode 19, and don't ask me why I know that right off the top of my head. Okay. Because today I was reviewing episode 18, and then it rolled into that one, and it was Housekeepers Unite, which is also the one that I was watching in the kitchen when you came home, and you said that's the lady from 2.5 Men. Okay, so... do you want to know? You found it already?
Yeah, but it's a form to treat a person using Rolfing, I can't say that word. Proprietary, thank you. Term for a massage technique aimed at the release of the realignment of the body.
Happy endings. And
then the example is I had the negative emotions rolfed out of me.
Okay. So there's a chance that they changed the script because no one was going to get that? Or does everyone...
we just had to look it up.
I know, but does everyone... I mean, we're not the smartest people around, so does everyone get that except for us? Or was that a term more popular in the 80s? Or were they like, no one's going to get that, let's change it?
Well, the founder is Dr. Ida P. Rolf. Serious.
Of course it is.
Can't make that up.
And that's an interesting thing, too. So this is the final draft of the script, and... there is a guy I know named David who used to work as a page for ABC during this time. He actually worked on these seasons of episodes. And he said, and in Mindy Glazer's book, she also said that they would do the dress rehearsal and they would do the dress rehearsal in front of a full audience and they would record it. And they used that as backup for anytime they needed to fill a scene. or have extra coverage. And then after the dress rehearsal, the actors would go have dinner, and then the writers would fix anything that didn't work in the dress rehearsal. So maybe this just didn't get enough laughs in the dress rehearsal, and so then they changed it to her just saying she's going to get a pedicure, and Mona saying, "Say hello to your groomer."
Yeah, much better line anyway.
I do think that that's better. So as Joanne is leaving, the kids are coming in, and they're coming in from the mall where they went to go get pledges. And Mona, I love how Mona says, "How did it go, my little pledgesters?"
Yeah, that's funny.
That's very cute. Now, here's something that does kind of irritate me about the difference between the script and the show. So Jonathan hands Angela all the pledges that they collected at the mall, or he collected at the mall. And then Angela says, "Wonderful. Sam, what did you get?" And she holds up these new shoes.
Yeah, I got shoes.
I got shoes. Which basically means that Samantha did nothing to help get any pledges.
No, and that actually spent money.
Right, yeah. Spent Tony's hard-earned money as he's up there on a billboard.
Right.
But in the script, Samantha hands Angela a paper and says, "We got a major contribution from Bright's ice cream parlor." Jonathan says that's because she told Jason Bright she'd go to the movies with him.
Oh.
And Samantha says, "Jonathan, I did that for the greater good. It's not my fault that he's captain of the swimming team and to die for."
Ah, to die for.
Yeah, so at least in that situation, she was helping.
Yeah, but not this one.
Now the phone rings again, and it's Tony on the other end with a terribly insensitive accent that we probably would not see on TV today. So he's trying to disguise his voice, and he says that he would like to pledge $1,000 for every hour that great American is up on that billboard. And then Angela's like, $1,000? And she's on to what's happening here.
Right.
And then Tony says, "Make it $2,000 because I love how sexy your voice is." So then Angela's like, "Wait a minute. Eddie, is this you?" And then Tony's all, "What?"
Yeah.
"Eddie? Who's Eddie?"
What do you mean, Eddie?
Right. So she's like, "I gotcha." And then she says, "That'll teach you to toy with my emotions." And he says, "You love it." And she does love it. She really does.
Yeah, she does.
Now, question. Tony's sitting on a lawn chair that we did not see him bring up there.
No.
So
No.
do you think he had like a pulley system? Or did someone throw it up there and then he caught it? Or maybe it was up there before he got up there and we just didn't see it.
We'll never know. But you know what? It's one of those 80s, obviously.
Oh, yes. I remember
launchers that you
those.
could pinch you and burn you.
Oh, my God.
It's a lot of pinching and burning with that thing.
Yes, the little rubber tubes, and they would get so hot. And
then
they
when you
would.
put the chair away, you always pinched yourself.
Right. Oh, and then when you got up off the chair, you had the lines of those hot little rubber tubes all over your body. I know.
Yeah.
I remember, this is how little we used sunscreen in the 80s. I remember like coating myself in baby oil.
Oh, God.
Popping one of those things open in the backyard and just laying out there for as long as I could stand it in Florida.
When they click the chair, click, click, click,
Yeah.
click. Yeah. And they always break.
So then Angela asks him, "How is the great outdoors?" And on the episode, Tony says, "Great, except for the pigeons." And then he looks up and swats at a pigeon apparently nearby.
Right.
But
I know, it's bizarre.
This is really cute. In the script, Tony says, "Fine, except the sun and wind are playing havoc with my complexion." And Angela says, "Look in your little zipper compartment of your knapsack. I packed some moisturizer. Remember, pat, don't rub." And then he says, "You're a face saver." So I thought that was cute that she packed him some sunscreen. Because normally he's the one like doing little nice things for her.
Right. But instead, he's fighting off pigeons.
Right. But somehow, I mean, maybe that joke didn't land or no one else thought that was cute because instead he's talking about pigeons. So then Angela says, "Hang on, Samantha wants to talk to you." So Samantha gets on the phone and she's like, "Hey, Dad, do you remember Chris Olin?" And he says no.
The answer's no.
Yeah. But he just wants to go to a movie. No. Because he won't be home to meet him and he won't be able to get to know him and he won't be able to scare him. Yeah.
It's funny that he says meet him when she says, "Do you remember him?"
Oh, yeah. Maybe she had just talked about how to die for he was. Okay. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. That was Jason Bright. I don't know who Chris Olin is.
I see.
So then she just gives up. And see, that is a sitcom kid versus a real kid. Do you think a real kid would give up that easily?
No.
No. There'd be tears.
Yeah.
There'd be like, why are you doing this to me?
Right.
And begging. Then, we'd move to groveling. And then finally, you would just be like, put Angela back on the phone. And then the conversation would be over. But on a sitcom, she's like, oh, okay, bye, Dad. Love you.
Right. Come on.
Yeah. And that's the end of it. So then Angela gets back on the phone, and in the script, does she get back on the phone in the show? Okay, she does. And it's fantastic. If you watch Angela, every time she takes that phone, she takes her earring off.
I know.
Yes, because it must be a clip-on.
And the earrings must be large.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's no way you can comfortably hold a phone to your head with that earring on. And I think I've already mentioned this on this podcast before. When I dressed Avi up as Angela Bauer, we had a phone much like this one. And I bought her jewelry much like the earrings she's wearing that were these like large gold toned earrings. But I couldn't get the phone in the shot with Avi's little ear. I only let her wear one because there was no way to get the phone and the earring against her head.
Oh, really?
When we took the picture, yes. So I could see why she wants to take those giant earrings off. So Angela's saying, okay, so wait, before I get to what happens on the show, in the script, Angela gets back on the phone and she says, me again. And then she says, oh, Tony, that's so sweet. Chocolate fudge brownies with walnuts. And Tony says, I knew you'd need something to keep up your strength. So he left her brownies and she packed him moisturizer.
It's so nice.
That's very sweet. I know, we didn't get to see any of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he says, how's business at Pledge Central? This is where the show picks back up. And she's like, oh, it's great. You know, the phones haven't stopped ringing. Fairfield is really behind you. And then Mona says, not just Fairfield. Some woman's calling from Baltimore. She saw Tony on the local news. She says she's going to donate $100. And Angela's repeating all this to Tony on the phone. She's going to donate $100. And then Mona says, $200 if you'll have her baby, if you'll father her child.
And then it's quiet for a minute.
And then Angela says, she's pledging $100. Now, when the show comes back from commercial, Tony is up on the billboard.
With Lee
doing a live shot. Okay.
And I like that Lee's got some kind of belt pack like he's a soldier. Like, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
Is that batteries?
Those must be the batteries.
Oh,
and that is a very large bag.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's doing a shot with him, and he's talking about Moby Dick. It's so beautifully written, and it raises a lot of philosophical questions. It raises a lot of falafels. And he says, and there's more people getting eaten than Jaws. And, okay. Now, look at how small this platform is.
I know. So tiny.
I would imagine that in the set where they built this is only like 2 feet off the ground. Because it is the smallest platform. Like, one little misstep and you're falling off of that thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, not Tony, but yeah.
Well, yeah. But the average person, and especially when Angela gets up there as clumsy as she is.
I know. And then all the spiders. Sorry.
That was a good callback. Okay, so then Tony's like, okay, well, so we're headed into the 10th hour, and he puts up the card, and he's like, I know we're headed towards...
10? Oh, yeah, it was 10. You're right.
He puts up hour 10. He's like, I know we're headed towards dinner time. I guess it's supposed to be, according to the script, it's Saturday at 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
He's like, we're headed towards dinner time, but we cannot afford to have a lull in the pledges. So put down your veal chop... and get on the phone.
Now,
get on the horn.
Do you think Lee's been there for 10 hours?
I don't know.
That's a long time.
No, so like,
they were there at the beginning when he went up.
Yeah, so they were probably there. Oh, wait. Yeah, Lee's had a long day because they were probably there for the morning show.
Russ is gone. He's home drinking his whiskey or whatever.
He will be back for when Tony gets down. But yeah, so maybe he worked the morning show and then he came back for the evening show.
And Lee's just there all day.
He needs to talk to someone about that because he's worked way too much today. Okay, now but he says, put down the veal chop, pick up the horn because you need to call in. And Angela's watching this, and she's just like giggling to herself
That's
at how
the greatest thing she's ever seen.
Yes, he's so charismatic and just charming. And he says, don't make me stand on my head if the phone stopped ringing. So now the doorbell rings at the house, and Angela.
Well, hang on. One thing when you talk about the scene is the way that Lee's up there shooting him.
Right. Yes.
And then they show it on the TV, and obviously he's still looking off where Lee is. But if it was correct, you would be seeing Lee's shot on the television.
Yes, exactly.
They should have shot that.
You're seeing the studio camera shot of Tony
on the television.
Right, on the television, which is not at all the shot that Lee would have.
That wasn't easy to do back then because you had to shoot it and then play it back immediately on these televisions, and they always...
No, they probably inserted this.
Yeah, you think maybe it was shot later?
Yeah,
or
because
earlier.
because you don't see Angela and the TV in the same shot. And look behind the TV.
That's
I guess
true.
There's
That's
the wallpaper.
Yeah.
But it also looks like they just set the TV on the floor because I see a baseboard, I think.
That's a good point. And then they zoom in so you don't see the wall anymore at one point, which is bizarre.
So Angela turns off the TV when the doorbell rings, and she gets up and answers the door. At the door is a man named James Winslow. Okay. Mm-hmm. This actor is James Karen. But I was very confused because on IMDb and in the credits of this episode, this man is listed as Jerry. Why? And this is not the first time this has happened on this show. Like, they would have name changes, and then no one would tell the people who were doing the credits. So, okay.
I blame Tony again.
I know, but he's not even in the scene. It's not even like he just made up some different name for this guy. Okay, so James Karen was born in 1923 and passed away in 2018 at the age of 94. Let me see when his first IMDb.
It looks like he pretty much worked all the way up till that point.
Yeah, his first TV credit was in 1948. And I don't recognize this man, but I feel like...
I kind of do, and I got to figure... I don't know from what.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a ton of stuff. Eight
Right.
is enough. But I get the feeling when he is introduced on this show that people recognize him. Like... He doesn't quite get the cheers of a Ray Charles, but I feel like he gets recognition a bit, or like it was kind of, he was a recognizable face on this show.
Yeah, he was in Seinfeld episodes, probably where I know him
Oh,
from.
yeah, probably. I mean,
Always.
How many credits does he have in total?
A
here?
lot.
Let's see.
207.
Not
Yeah,
our
he
highest, but
worked.
that is, yes, he worked. And he worked until 2018.
Wow.
Yes, that is amazing. Okay. So, yes. So, James Winslow says, "Oh, hello, I'm the National Director of the Parents Association in Washington, D.C. And Angela's like, "Oh, please come in." So this guy just heard about Tony, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm going to drive to his house.
I'm just going to go and offer him a job."
Yeah, I'm going to see what's happening at Pledge Central. Okay, now an interesting thing about the script that I have is that there is a set. So they list out all the sets that'll be used this evening. And it says living room, kitchen, Washington office, billboard platform, billboard base. So maybe at some point there was supposed to be like a Washington, he was calling from the Washington office or something. And then they just cut that out and just had him be here. So I don't know. But I thought that was interesting that was in the script and not on the show.
Oh, Jerry.
So he says that he's heard great things about this fundraiser, and he wanted to come down and get a look. And she's like, she says, it's just been so much activity, but the phone is actually not ringing at all right now. And she's like, but let me, she's like, we're having, a little bit of a slow period, but let me show you some numbers. So she shows him the numbers on the billboard, the bulletin board that they have in the living room, and things are looking great. She turns the television on, and Tony is standing on his head.
You know what's interesting here is the fact that I think the thermometer that they're using is going up.
Right.
I'm saying, like, through the episode, they're...
yeah. Like, they're making it...
Yeah, which is
as
cool.
if, that's very cute. They're doing a good job there.
Sorry, go back to Tony being on his head.
Yeah, so that Angela turns the television on, and Tony is standing on his head to try to get more pledges. And then he's like, I don't know what he's doing. Upside down, jumping jacks. And...
I don't know.
Then
he's dancing.
So Angela's like, he's just so... charming or so witty, and James is also saying, like, he just has such a presence. So they're both kind of talking about how, he's really kind of made for this. When Whitlow, I'm sorry, this guy's name is Whitlow, James Whitlow, says that he is a natural born leader. He's a diamond in the rough. And then Angela says, a modern day Abe Lincoln.
Modern day.
Then they go back to the television where Tony's now tap dancing. And he could tap dance right off that billboard.
Yeah.
He's so close to the edge.
I know.
Like, it's really... this whole episode, I'm very stressed out at how small the billboard platform that is.
I know. You can't let it go.
I can't let it go. So they cut to Tony now sitting in the dark, and he's on hour 14.
Yeah.
So wait, I'm sorry. I'm bad with math. If hour 10 was 6 o'clock, okay, it's now 10 o'clock at night. And
late.
What?
It's getting late.
Yeah, it's getting late. So he's sitting up there, he stands up, he stretches, and he's like, oh, I'm hurting. So he bends over and touches his toes, again, right at the edge of the platform. And he gets up, it's 11 o'clock, because then he puts hour 15 up on his little sign there.
Oh, boy.
Okay, now, it's time to go to bed. The script says here.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious.
11 p.m. Look, the script did all the math for me. I didn't need that. 11 p.m. that night, Tony posts the 15th hour. He does a few stretching exercises, yawn, then crawls into his tent.
Yeah, that's not at all what happens.
No. Tony dances like crawling. I'll have to bleep that out. I'm going to jump.
Right.
I'm going to dive into this. This tent is second base, and I'm going for it.
Yeah, grown man diving into a tent.
But you made a good observation earlier, which is there's no way to look
no
cool.
Graceful way. No.
Crawling into this tent. No. So really the only way to do it was to just kind of chuck himself.
Just throw yourself in
there.
And you're right, like the platform is so small. If he's in that tent and he rolls over to the right too much, he's going off.
The whole thing's going over.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he picks up his little cordless phone and he calls home. And I thought it was interesting that in this scene now we only get his side of the conversation and not both. It's not intercut with Angela. But he's saying, hi, Angela, I just want to say goodnight. Make sure you wind the clock in the upstairs hall. Kiss the kids goodnight for me. Oh, and remember to tape all my TV appearances. And he says, I'm doing a lot of boffo stuff. There's that word again.
Yeah, boffo.
Boffo. That's what Jonathan said when he was giving his speech for Tony, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And we looked it up, right?
We did. It's like best of all or something like that. You looked it up. He said, I'm doing a lot of boffo stuff out there, and I want my grandchildren to see it. Then he tells her to be sure to lock the front door. And he pauses for a minute. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll do the same. And then he zips up the tent.
zips up the tent close.
And they say goodnight, and then the light turns off. So now it's the morning, and Pledge Central is a hubbub of activity. The phone is ringing away. And they kind of go down the line where you see Mona, Jonathan, and then they get to Samantha, and Samantha's on the phone with Bonnie.
Of course.
Yeah. She's complaining that her dad's not going to let her go out with anyone until this stupid marathon is over. And then she asks, do you think Jerry Lewis's daughter has to deal with this?
Probably not.
Now, they still do the Jerry Lewis telethon, right? I mean, they
yeah.
probably didn't this past year, but...
Yeah, no.
As far as I can tell,
no, I think they still do it. Yeah.
So that is a reference where it may not be quite as... relevant as it was before, but it's still one that people would recognize.
And what I struggle with is they call it a marathon, not
I know.
telethon.
Yeah, they say a marathon quite a few times.
Yeah.
I guess like is it even a marathon for him? I don't know. Yeah, but technically it's a telethon. Okay. So now Joanne comes in the house and she says, I have some bad news. something that could put a black cloud over your happy household. And Mona says, you're moving next door. And
Always quick with the one-liners.
I know. And she says no, and then she tells Angela to turn the television on. So if they're doing a live shot here, how does Joanne have any information? Like, Joanne must have heard from someone that they're planning to offer Tony a job. And that they're planning to do it on television.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, there's no reason why she would know any of this.
How'd she get that information?
Right. So they turn on the TV, and James Whitlow is now in the live shot with Tony. And he's saying, we'd like to thank you. Oh, Russ is back. He's back the next morning. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Is that Russ or Lee? No, that's Russ. Okay. And
Is that Russ or Lee?
I feel I'm attached to both of them now.
Wow.
So they're saying, okay, once again, Washington would like to thank you for the magnificent job you're doing out here. He's like, thank you. And Angela's like, oh, yeah, this is really bad news. Thanks. So Joanne's waiting for it. And then James Whitlow says, we want to do this on television so that you can't say no. But the Parents Association would like to offer you, or we would like to offer you the job of Parents Association's National Coordinator for Special Projects in Washington, D.C.
Sounds like a made-up job to me.
Yeah. And Tony says, that's the longest job I've ever been offered. And they're like, but it's a great job. And what do you think? And so everyone's kind of waiting. And Jonathan says to Sam, does that mean you're moving? And they're all like, shh, waiting to see what Tony's going to say. Okay, wait, is this different in the script? I thought there was a tiny bit more in here. No, actually. Okay, the kids, Jonathan saying anything to Samantha is actually not in the script. So maybe they decided to add that because they felt like it would be kind of weird for the kids not to say anything. And then Samantha's like, shh, because she wants to hear what he's going to say. And Tony turns the job down. He's like, it's a great offer, but, I'm going to have to say no. And he doesn't even think about it. Like, he really just turns it down. Like, it doesn't even seem, like, enticing to him at all.
I know, yeah.
But, dude, you're a housekeeper. And, like, I don't know, you want to just maybe talk salary a tiny bit here?
Yeah, just get some dumb details before you just completely shut it down.
Or you just say no. So Joanne says, how could he turn that down? And she's saying it to Angela, and then she's like, unless he's getting some major fringe benefits here. And Mona says, not everyone is as lucky as your gardener.
Okay.
So
that's funny.
Samantha says to Jonathan, well, twerp, looks like you're still stuck with me. And Jonathan says, isn't it great? And they kind of hug, which is really cute. I feel like we never see them liking each other at all.
I know, you're right.
And also, Jonathan has a severe cowlick this entire episode.
I know.
And
what is that all about?
I don't know.
Nobody noticed it?
Right. Could no one just get out a can of Aquanet and just kind of pat that down? It's a poor kid. His hair is sticking straight up, and it has been for days, according to the episode.
And then, it just doesn't end.
So the kids are excited, and Mona's like, it's terrific, and everyone's happy. And Mona says to Angela, it's terrific, isn't it? And Angela's just sitting there. And I want you to really look at Angela's face here, because...
And she's in deep thought.
She really is. Like, she sits down, and they're probably like, Judith, look concerned. And she does. She looks concerned. She concerns the hell out of that look right there. Okay, so now we cut to the kitchen, where Angela's eating a large piece of chocolate cake. And if we know anything about Angela... When she's stressed out, she eats. And she eats chocolate. So she's not in a good place right now. Mona comes in and she's like, uh-oh. I know the signs. You're all alone and you're eating. What's the matter?
Yeah, she's seen this one before.
And Angela's like, it's nothing. And Mona's like, of course it is. I'm your mother. I'm concerned. And I wanted some of that cake. And she takes the cake and sits down with it. Yeah. So she's like... Angela says, I have a strange feeling. And Mona says, are you pregnant? And then Angela gives her a look and she's like, oh, of course not. How would that happen? But in the script, that pregnant line is not in here. So It looks like they added that between dress rehearsal and the nighttime recording. Angela just says, it's just a strange feeling I have. And Mona says, oh no, not another one of those. So... I think the joke that Mona delivered is much better than what was in the script. Angela says, the way he turned down that job, it just seems so fast. And Mona says, well, not everyone is a Muller like you. It took you months to decide on scenic checks. Now, in the script, Angela says, it was hard choosing between the founding fathers and woodchucks of Maine.
No, I think the checks comment is...
Well, no, that's what she says afterwards. But here they cut it.
Oh,
so,
I see. Now it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand now.
So then Angela's like, why do you think that he just turned that offer down like so quickly? And Mona says, who cares? You know, like this is the way it was supposed to be and you're worrying too much. Like it's fine. But what?
Mona.
I know the new equalizer again.
I know.
She's saying, you know, like stop all your worrying. She tells Angela, you worry too much. That's why those lines around your eyes are getting bigger.
I know. There's always got to be a little insult peppered in there.
But I love how Angela's just like, maybe I should talk to Tony. Like the insult doesn't even register anymore.
No, it just gives it's
because
like
they happen all the time. And Mona says, maybe you should leave well enough alone. But Angela's like, he could be making the biggest mistake of his life. And Mona says, so could you.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I know. And that is not in the script. So it ends with Angela says, I don't know. Maybe I should talk to Tony. And Mona says, Angela, listen to your mother. Leave well enough alone. But I kind of like the way that it's a little more of an oomph to that like final line there where she's basically saying, you know, if you encourage him to leave, that's going to be the end of any possibility for you. And you may regret that.
That's right.
So now we are on hour 30. He still has 18 hours to go. That is miserable. He's definitely have had to poop at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right off the side.
He puts up the little placard for 31, and he's freezing. It's very cold up there. It's kind of windy, and he sees the sun on the billboard. So he like kind of cozies up to it and pretends that it's a real sun. And he's like, "Oh, that feels so good. I hope I don't burn." And then he's like, this isn't working.
Ridiculous.
So he's trying to figure out like what he can do to stay warm. And suddenly a little head pops up on the side of the billboard. And it's Angela. And she's so winded. I don't know why.
I know, just from going up the stairs.
Oh, yeah, with just one little ladder. She's very winded.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And, so this is, okay. She says here, I just happened to be in the neighborhood. And in the script, she says, I just happened to be in the neighborhood. Since your phone is dead, I thought I'd drop up.
Oh, I guess the phone's dead.
Phone. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe they felt that they had to really say why she would come by instead of call, but then they decided to drop it. So he's like,
it's not that important.
Right. So he helps her up onto the rest of the billboard, and he's like, have a seat. I have all the comforts of home except for essential heat. And she's like, well, that's no problem because I brought you some consommé so that you can warm up. And he says, oh, good, I'll soak my feet in it. So we had to look up consommé. I had never had it, but it is basically you take a chicken carcass and a bunch of vegetables, and then you boil it for like an hour or two. Then you strain it through a cloth.
All right.
Then you let it cool. Then you add 2 egg whites and you whisk them in. Then you put it back on the heat until it starts to boil again, and all of the egg whites kind of become egg whites and float to the top.
Right.
Then you strain it again, making sure that all of the soup like goes through the egg whites before it gets strained through like a cheesecloth.
Okay.
And then that's consommé.
And we're supposed to believe Angela made that. Come on.
I know.
There's no way she did all that.
Angela would have had to start that on Tuesday.
And on top of it would be wrong.
Right.
Because based on her character.
Yes. So now he says, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but he's going to take a sip at some point, and then he's going to say, did you use chicken and beef bouillon? So the consommé is supposed to either be made with chicken or with beef.
Oh, so maybe there's where Angela messed up.
And I think you can use bouillon cubes if you don't have a chicken carcass. So she must have just thrown 2 cubes in with some vegetables and then let it. But do you think she still did all that stuff with the egg white?
Chicken and
I don't know. I think she just made awful broth because he spits it. He throws it over his shoulder as soon as he tastes it.
Yeah, it's probably best he doesn't risk eating that.
Right. So Tony's like, I'm glad you're here because I've been reading Romeo and Juliet. And you're thinking, oh, this is going in a good direction. But then he's like, no, do you think I'm being too strict with Sam? And I feel like they've talked about Romeo and Juliet before where he says, if they would have loosened up a bit, those two kids would be happily married and living in Verona Heights. I feel like they had a very similar joke at the end of the Hickey episode.
Oh.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but they're outside and he's fixing the trellis and he says something about if their parents had loosened up, they'd be together or something. So I feel like that was a recycled joke. Angela says, I wanted to talk with you about something. She says, I saw you on the news today and, you did a great job. There was just one thing that kind of bothered me. And he says, I knew I shouldn't have called him Jimbo.
Jimbo.
So again, why would he have called Jerry Jimbo? Then she's like, no, I just, do you really think that you gave that decision enough thought before saying no? And Tony's like, come on, I just moved Sam from Brooklyn to Connecticut. Now what am I going to do? Drag her out to a whole nother place and put her in a new school? And he says, and plus, Jonathan's starting to come out of his shell. He's even shooting hoops. I can't leave before he makes a basket. Poor Jonathan.
I know, I'm just attacking him, saying he may never make a basket.
And then he's like, and then what about you? And she's like, and yes? And he's like, and Mona. She's a constant problem. Raising her isn't easy. That is true. That is very true, Tony. So he feels like he's giving her all the reasons as to why he felt that he needed to do this. But she's like, you're giving reasons for everyone except for you. Like, what is the right thing for you to do? And now he's sort of thinking like, are you trying to get rid of me?
I know.
Are you saying that you don't want me anymore? And she says, no, I just don't want you to wake up in a couple of years and think, maybe I should have taken that job. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel the same way as Angela here.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with her, but, it's his decision. It's on him.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants Tony to move. And, he's basically thinking, not only am I, because in the normal situation, if your spouse or a member of your family gets a job, then you move with the member of that immediate family normally.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. I mean, you moved here.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying.
But he knows that him taking a job in Washington, D.C. means leaving Angela and Mona.
Yeah, because they're not going.
And Jonathan, right. And it's he and Sam back on their own. And I think he really enjoys being a part of this family.
Yeah.
And she's trying to stress, when I saw you on TV, I saw something in you I'd never seen before. And he says, come on, you've seen me stand on my head before.
I know. Very Tony.
I know. And why? I mean, how often is Tony just hanging around the house standing on his head?
Before. You're right.
Right.
That's a good point. Like she just comes in the kitchen and there he is on his head.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
It's like, Tony, you're groaning again.
I know.
Tony, you're standing on your head again. Tony says, if I did take that job, I'd be the first Micelli to go to work in a tie. But then he remembers something and he's like, well, I'd be the first Micelli to go to work in a, well, he says cousin Eddie worked at the mortuary. So I'd be the first Micelli to go to work in a tie and work with live people.
Work with live people.
So Angela's like, okay, well, I'm going to let you go and you can keep thinking about things or whatever and enjoy that consomme that you've thrown on the floor.
He threw out.
And
hope nobody was down there.
Right. And good luck if you have to poop. I'm leaving. So as she walks,
I didn't even catch the part where he throws the soup, the consomme.
Oh yeah, time. He does it he just kind of throws it over his shoulder.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until now.
So as Angela walks to the edge of the platform and looks down, they have this.
Intense camera shot of the ladder.
It's just going back, and somebody was drunk when they were shooting that.
Apparently, she's losing her balance already.
Vertigo, and she pins herself to the billboard wall. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm looking down now. Like coming up, I was fine, but looking down, I'm really scared." And he's like, "Oh, you mean you got that?" And then he says like acrophobia, I think, right?
Yeah, is that the word?
Yeah, or he says arachnophobia, and I think he does say
arachnophobia.
So he's like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And she said, he says, "I can't help you down because as soon as I go down there, then that's it for the pledge money."
That's right.
And Angela's like, "I'll cover it." She's willing to pay whatever he's just raised
to get her off of there,
right? So that he can take her down on that ladder.
And she's already realizing she could be stuck up there a while.
Yeah. So now it's hour 37 and Angela's still in the same spot. She hasn't moved. So Tony's
and I guess at this point you're supposed to believe that the phone is really broken because wouldn't they have called somebody to help?
Oh, that is a good point. So that is another reason why they would have had her mention that the phone is broken.
Right.
Because otherwise you could call Sam or Mona.
Or the fire department. Or
call someone.
Anybody.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. So that they could come and get her. So he's asking, like, how are you feeling? She's still pinned there. And she's like, I'm okay. And then he's like, well, we should probably get some sleep. So he's trying to pull her over to where the tent is so that they can get in. Now they're both going to get in this little tiny tent and not roll over and knock it off this thing. Okay.
And so I was confused because I thought that there wasn't a scene change, but now I see that they zoom off of the 37-hour sign.
Yes.
Because the tent's there. That's my point.
But the tent's
not there when she comes up. So
I got you.
But they had 6 hours to put the tent up.
So Angela has been standing there. So how long did that conversation take? 4 minutes.
Right.
Angela has now been standing against that wall for 6 hours.
Right. And then Tony put up a tent.
Yeah.
It's like she's a lunatic.
Well, she just stood there.
All
right. So now that the tent's all ready to go, he's like, okay, I'm just going to peel you off this wall.
So ridiculous.
So that you can get in the tent and we can go to sleep. So they start trying to walk over to the tent and the wind's picking up a little bit and she's all whimpering and stuff again, like she's in the principal's office. And as soon as they get to the tent, it blows away.
It's fantastic. I wonder if you can see a string pull that thing
I know. I don't.
Did you look for one?
Yes, and I can't. But who has that thing on a fishing pole and they are just yanking it?
I know, it's great. Like the wind just suddenly, there's this amazing gust.
Right, but their hair is still blowing at the same rate that it has been the whole time by whatever
I can
fan.
see it. I saw a string.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I definitely can see the string.
I can't because I'm on my desktop.
Yeah, this TV is ridiculous.
That's fantastic. Okay, so then Angela says, I don't know much about camping, but isn't it a bad omen when your tent flies away?
Yeah, it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, and Tony's like, I think in the script he says more so if you're inside of it, but then he's like, okay, don't worry about it. We're going to be warm. We're going to be fine. So he goes back over and he's like, I have a sleeping bag. And he gets out a sleeping bag. And then Angela says, just one? And he's like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't really plan on having drop-up guests.
Yeah, that's true. He's got a point.
But then he's like, don't worry. I've had 2 people in here before. There's plenty of room. And then he's like, never mind.
Of course, Tony's rolled around in a sleeping bag with another person.
Of course. So now he's trying to get Angela's feet in. And again, she's whimpering and holding onto the wall. And then he gets both of her feet in. Okay, so this I think is all ad-lib because...
Oh, you think?
Yeah, because none of this is in the script. So what does it say in the script here? I have a sleeping bag, just one. It'll be fine. I've had 2 people in here before. There's plenty of room. And then he says, come on, feet first. And then the directions just say he helps her step into the sleeping bag standing. Tony then steps into the bag also standing.
Ah, all right.
So all of this is ad-lib, which I think is great. And he's like, okay, come on. Now I'm going to put my foot in. Okay, take it easy. all right, I'm going to get my foot. Then he pretends he's falling over for a second. Then he like gets the bag around them and he's trying to zip it and he can't zip it. And then he's like, oh, have you gained a few pounds? And she gives him, I know, again, a fat joke. And then she gives him a dirty look and he's like, I'm just kidding. And then he finally zips up the sleeping bag.
Yeah, again, this is a very narrow platform.
I know.
This is happening.
I know. Yeah, like one wrong, you twist your leg in there, you both are falling off that billboard. So then, once he gets the sleeping bag zipped, they're like, okay, now we're going to slide down on the platform. So they slide down the wall until their butts hit the billboard, the floor. It is pretty funny. And that is in the script. And that had to have hurt their butts. So now that Angela's sitting, she's looking out and she's like, oh, it actually is really pretty up here. You know, you see all the city lights. When you're down there, you're in the middle of it all and you don't really notice how nice it is. And then Tony's like, oh yeah, you have to be way up here looking down to see how nice it is. And Angela's getting scared again. He's like, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
So now he's like, well, I guess there's no reason to lock up. I hope Angela doesn't have to pee because she's not going to be able to pee downwind.
She's already been up there 7-8 hours.
That's a good point. No one will ever talk about what happened with the consomme thermos after today.
Bad things may have happened.
Okay, so they're like, well, no reason to lock up. You know, we're out here. So they start talking some more, and he's like, you know, I really appreciate that you came by and that you brought that great consomme. The YouTube closed captioning, because it just tries to interpret. Yeah, it says that you brought the consummate.
Consummate.
That would have been an entirely different episode.
Yeah, it would have.
And Angela's like, well, you know, anything to get out of the house. So he says, you know, what would you think if I took that job? Or what would you feel if I took that job? And she looks at him and she just says, I would be proud.
All right.
Yeah. And then he's like, I never really liked wearing a tie anyway. And then she kind of smiles because she knows that he's not going to take it. And then they kind of settle in. He closes his eyes and she puts her head on his shoulder.
And now we cut to Russ.
Yes. Oh, wait. Did they say anything else? Oh, yeah. No, they just say goodnight.
No, that's it.
Yeah. And then they go to sleep. So they're going to sleep sitting up like that all night long.
I guess so.
That's terrible.
What are your options?
No, yeah, you have nothing. Yell for Mona.
Tent's gone.
Yeah, so now...
Yell for Mona.
So yeah, when Russ got there in the morning, he found the tent like in a tree. He probably thought Tony was dead. And then,
like, what happened?
He's like, we may have breaking news. Oh, wait, no, never mind. So he's doing a little live shot from the bottom of the billboard that's officially come to a close. Tony's making his final descent. And as Tony's coming down the ladder, he has Angela in front of him. And Angela has now made this all about herself.
Of course.
She's still whimpering. She's holding on to something. And she's just like, oh, thank God. And yeah, because Tony's like, okay, now here's what comes next. And she's like, oh, what? And he's like, the ground.
Like,
I mean, seriously, you can see you're like 2 feet off the ground at this part.
And I love that she has on those Reeboks that had the Velcro on the top that goes around. Those are so 80s.
Oh my gosh, they were, but they were very popular.
They were huge.
So they made $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. So as soon as Tony gets down, he and Angela start hugging Mona, Jonathan, and Samantha. And then Russ is like, can you guys break this up so we can do an interview? And Tony's like, no way, I'm never letting go of them.
Very nice.
So then they cut to Tony making the family watch this over and over again in the living room. Mona's eating popcorn. I don't know why.
Because it's like watching a movie.
So then Tony he's like, I could watch this forever. And Samantha's like, I was afraid of that. And she's like, do we really have to watch it again? And he's like, yes. And then Angela and Tony kind of throw themselves on the whole family on the couch and make them sit back down. And that's the
episode.
That is the end of the episode. There was a thing. Hang on, I have to look here. Somebody wrote on IMDb that when Tony goes to kiss Samantha, Oh, yeah. When Tony goes to kiss Alyssa Milano here, she's like cringing.
Oh.
And they were like, oh, she forgot to act like it's her father. But I think she's supposed to be doing that on purpose because he's like kissing all over her and they're on national television.
Right.
Or not national, but local television.
Right.
That IMDb is just a
wealth of knowledge.
a lot of false information.
Or that.
Got to get Snopes on there. Okay. Hey, I don't know who did rating last. Do you?
Rating last. I thought I did. No, I actually don't know. Don't ask me. We should, God forbid we write this stuff down.
No. Why would I do that? Also, like, why would I write down who we pick as boss every week so that I wouldn't have to go back and listen to every episode?
Doing rating first.
Okay, you go first.
Okay. Overall, I gave this episode a 7.5.
Wow, 2 weeks in a row.
I know. I actually enjoyed this episode just because it was so different. It wasn't, it didn't take place in the house and all the usual places, and it was just kind of a different, and it was a break from the norm, the every episode, like, and it also moved at a snail's pace, but it moved Angela and Tony along a little bit more. Lets you know that he cares enough to stay.
Right.
And that made Angela happy. Like, she got an answer, even though she cares enough for him to make sure he isn't making a mistake by not taking that job. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
But but then he still is, no, this is where I want to be or whatever. And then they're both happy. So, maybe I read too much into this. But anyway, that's my rating. I think that I just overall, and I kind of like how corny Tony was. Like, he was extra corny in this episode. Like, doing the shark biting with the book and the constant laughing. I mean, I know he's like that all the time, but I really feel like he was extra goofy in this episode.
Yeah, he was definitely on.
Yes, exactly.
I also gave it a 7.5.
Oh, okay, great.
I remember liking this episode when I first saw it. I thought it was cute. I just love the idea of them up on that billboard, like sitting together and talking and having nowhere to go other than to talk to each other.
Right.
It was written by a writer that we have not, he did one episode, but it really fits. Like, I feel like
good for that writer.
Yeah.
To come in, write an episode, and then that's it.
Yeah, like he really knew these characters.
Right.
And I agree, it brings Tony and Angela closer a bit. She really was willing to give him up if it would make his life better. And he wasn't willing to give them up just because even though he's a housekeeper and that may not be a job where he makes a lot of money, he loves this family. And
right.
I think he really enjoys being a stay-at-home dad, for a good portion of that also. And, yeah, so I agree. 7.5. Fun episode.
All right,
and
look at that.
We got to see Jonathan for the entire episode.
Yeah, with the spiky hair.
Right.
With the cowlick.
Yeah, I feel like everybody was kind of used in almost equal amounts, so. All right.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I went with Lee as the boss.
I
pulled a you. Were you going to say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have. I don't know. But I wasn't
Lee
thinking
was
about
salty.
saying. He was. I like Lee.
We worked with a lot of photogs that remind me
You're
of
really
Lee.
losing control here, Russ, or whatever he says.
Okay, no. Tony is the boss because, first of all, he has made the most money in the state for the Parent Teachers Association.
Okay.
He has a really good idea of getting up on this billboard. He's the one that has to figure out where to pee. And then he gets offered a job and he says he's not going to take it. Even when Angela kind of like tests his decision there, he sticks to his guns and he says no.
Okay. That's a pretty good one. But I disagree.
Okay.
I think Mona is the boss.
Oh.
Because I think that talk that she had with Angela in the kitchen was just basically like, let it be, maybe you're going to miss out. And,
yeah, that's true.
And I feel like, I know that she didn't have a lot of groundbreaking moments, but I just thought that scene alone in itself, she was just kind of giving the advice like, just let it go, let it be, and things will work out for, and they did. They ended up working out,
Yeah.
So,
No, I see that because I mean, overall, when you think about who's the boss, you think Mona's the boss. And it is because of moments like that where Mona comes in and is like, you're being crazy.
And again, we said, that she's the equalizer.
Right.
And she does have moments like that and that don't make her the boss necessarily. But I think this one, she was.
All right. I take that.
I think overall, she had little bits of good advice, but that part was the key part.
And all of her one-liners against Joanne Parker.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't make her the boss necessarily.
No, she's always a boss in that respect.
And she's working hard to get the money. She got $20 an hour from.
Oh, that's a good point too.
From blackmailing the married man she slept with,
Mr. Phil or Miss. Yeah. Okay, so
way to go.
You can reach us at the Who's the Boss podcast on Instagram. Or Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. If you go to Facebook, we have a page, the Who's the Boss podcast page. Or go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast. And there you can leave us a voice message, just like Ashley and Fran did tonight.
That's right.
And okay, next week we are going to, next week's a sad one. A Farewell to Nick. So this is the episode where they wrap up Nick Milano's storyline and they pay tribute to James Coco. So that'll be next time. And that's all we have to say, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay,
that's
all right.
it.
Bye. Good night.
See ya.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give a big thumbs up and tell all your friends. And maybe you can tell your grandma, your mother, and your sister or brother. Maybe you have no siblings. Tell your dog and cats. Bye.